there's a warm wave of nostalgia over me. Hein, I go back to 1998. Now, I know you think I would have been about 3 then. I was actually first year at UCT, discovering that you could either go to English classes in preparation for a life of waiting tables or teaching, or you could come to wine estates where they gave you free wine. And this was the very first South African wine estate I ever came to.
Oh, welcome again. You know, I started also in 1998. So we started the same time at La Motte. And then myself and Hanley got married in end of 1998. And since then, La Motte changed quite a lot. So welcome at the new La Motte.
Some things still remain the same. The setting is exquisite. There is this old school charm and this warmth of welcome. But there have been a lot of developments, and La Motte is a place that is in this constant sense of evolution and rediscovery, and always finding something new and exciting to do.
It's really exciting, Dan. We started with wine and look at the different areas that we farm with grapes and focus on Elim, Elgin, Stellenbosch and Franschhoek.
Well, one of the things I've seen develop in Franschhoek is it's become busier. There's a lot more that happens in Franschhoek, and I suspect one of the challenges, one of the balances that you have to strike as one of the iconic homes of wine and lifestyle in Franschhoek is continuing to grow and develop, but still retain the authenticity and still retain what's important to you as La Motte.
Yeah, obviously we went back to basics when we said we want to change the farm, and that was like 3 years ago. The Hanley's children are involved now in the business, and they said it must be less formal. And we went through the whole process of putting very exciting experiences together with our wine now. So we started with Jan Hendrik van der Westhuizen as our fine dining partner at the Veerpos at La Motte. And then we have found a partner in bread with Marcus Fabringer as the master baker in South Africa. And we put up a very nice bakery at La Motte, and I'll show you that a bit later. And then the top restaurant changed to Lamy from Pierneef, and it's an open fire, much more traditional South African food. Also less formal, and then we changed the shop, and the Spence is a very exciting one that we added as a brand now, and we are developing a lot of new products in the Spence or pantry, where we go back to the history where people preserve products.
I think I will, both because they are very good, but also because I have such a long history with them. And I hope my mother's not watching this, but in my first year of university, I was lucky to be on a bursary, and I had an allocated sum of money with which to purchase books. And instead of purchasing my textbooks, I bought a case of Millennium and a case of Cabernet Sauvignon from La Motte, and probably one of the great life decisions I'll ever make.
Probably your best investment ever, Dan, to invest in wine, and it's in future wine.
We're here outside this bakery, which is another relatively new addition, and I walked through it, and there were about 800 different things that I wanted to try, and I thought, well, let me go with the very best and let me ask the expert. So what for you, Hein, is the defining experience of this bakery? What should I be trying over breakfast this morning?
When I started with Marcus and talking about bread and how can we make bread healthy again, sourdough came up, and obviously the La Motte sourdough now is, I think, the best in South Africa that you will find. We'll taste it a bit later, but Marcus is just passionate about bread, and we farm with ancient grain. You ferment and slow ferment and cold ferment the dough, and then we have this wonderful product that we will have now.
That sourdough sounds fantastic, and in fact I met him briefly earlier, Ricardo, yes. Who is your baker. Oh, Ricardo, that looks glorious. Does he not get one? Because this is all mine. I'm not sharing this. What's making this so special, Ricardo?
This is our classic sourdough. So this is our 5-flour sourdough. That's rye flour, whole wheat flour, bread flour, cake flour, all mixed together with the 000 flour. Fermented for about 20 hours, baked in our beautiful oven for about 45 minutes. There you have it. Best sourdough in the house.
Oh, it looks sensational. Even Tim Noakes would not be able to resist this loaf of bread. That looks fabulous. Now, should I eat this on its own? Should it come with something?
with butter.
A little bit of butter?
Farm
right.
butter that we have, and then obviously some honey if you want some honey.
All right. There we go. Oh, thank you, Ricardo. Oh, this is a pretty good way to start the day. It's only possibly, here comes our collection of butter. Fabulous. Magic. Thank you. The only thing, it's relatively early in the day. Should I be having a glass of wine with my sourdough? And if so, what wine should I be drinking?
Definitely, but rosé. I think the Provence style of rosé that we do at La Motte, and Edmund will show you the detail of the wine a bit later. But I think this is one of the best South African rosés, and we've done that one now for 3 years. It's our third vintage that we've put the vintage jar together, and it's really a superb rosé.
And as if by magic it arrives, thank you, Tamarin, who is head of rosé pouring at La Motte. This is fabulous.
You see the color is very light, typical like the Provence style rosés.
I'll tell you what this colour is. This is the colour of an English tourist who's been on Clifton for about 8 minutes. They'll be the colour of Syrah after about 20 minutes. Oh, this is terrific. All right, so here we go. Here is my sourdough. Oh, this looks good. And the butter. All right, here we go. My very first taste of what is supposedly the world's greatest sourdough.
And remember, it makes you healthy.
That is obscenely good.
Yeah, we opened. It's our second season now with the bakery, and we are really successful in marketing a place where people can have breakfast. Because where there's not a lot of places that you can have breakfast in a scenery like this. Between the mountains in Franschhoek Valley, in the beautiful garden of La Motte, and then obviously with the best bread.
I remember in my visits here over the years, there was a rather well-known South African artist who features on many of the labels. The works of Mr. Pierneef are synonymous with La Motte, and I remember going to admire and take in and dream of one day owning one of these magnificent pieces. But that space has now changed, and there's something quite dynamic that you've brought into it.
Yes, we had the joint venture with the Pierneef family, and then bought over the paintings of Pierneef and put it in the museum. And now those paintings are still at La Motte House. But we've changed that space into a much more interactive space where people can be part of art, into an atelier where you will meet Nina, and Nina will show you all the different artists that we are busy with, and also the ones that will come in the next 12 months to La Motte. And people come and book classes to do painting classes or whatever classes will be available that Nina will market.
I caught a glimpse of it on my way in. I'm very excited to go and have a look at it. Hein, it's been a delight catching up with you. It has been so nice coming back to La Motte and seeing how so much has changed, but also so much has remained the same. And chief to that is the warmth and welcome and hospitality. So thank you for that to you and your team.
Thank you very much, and enjoy your day at La Motte with us.
I will indeed. And so I am off to go and check out some extraordinary art and some magnificent installations just as soon as I've finished my loaf of sourdough.
Hello, welcome.
How are you doing?
Good, and you?
Good.
Good, welcome to the atelier.
Hey, I'm so excited.
And use the Pierneef atelier to accompany us in La Motte atelier.
This sounds really important. I don't think I could properly appreciate the art if I didn't have a glass of La Motte in hand.
Definitely not.
This looks lovely, and this looks very different because the last time I was here, it was awash with Pierneef and it had a very different feel. The space is beautiful and the ceilings are great. I love the cathedral feel, but I'm also surrounded by some really striking art. What is this? What is the space? What's the thinking behind it?
Yes, so recently we opened the La Motte Atelier, and it's a contemporary space to honor artists and makers, and we also accompany that with a workshop space where we promote interactions with guests and artists.
So I could come and pretend to be an artist for a morning.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I'm really excited to see everything. And this is the Atelier wine, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, so it's an appropriate one. And I heard a rumour that not only are you the curator, but you might actually have a piece of art here.
That is true, yes.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Can you introduce me to the works?
So this exhibition is called When Surfaces Speak. It's all about celebrating different surfaces, textures, and natural materials. Here we have Leila Walter. She's an incredible weaver, hand weaves all of her works, and she also has functional textiles in our farm shop. So yeah, she really tried to up the surfaces and to give us a very immersive feeling in this wall hanging.
It's one of those pieces with the colour you could probably walk past without noticing too much, but when you get in close and you see the level of detail, it's extraordinary.
Exactly, and that's also the theme that we want to encourage throughout this exhibition, for guests to come up close and to experience not just by seeing but by feeling the works.
Yeah, it's got that autumn leaves have fallen, moving into winter.
Yes, so the whole exhibition was also curated with the season in mind. So we have all the natural materials and colours that we find in our surroundings currently.
It's a great piece. What about these?
These are marvellous works from Adele Sherlock, and I was fortunate to visit her in her studio, and just to see her play and experiment with the different textures was incredible. I call her a textural alchemist because she uses and reuses the different patterns and textures that she also finds in nature. And what you see here, she really captures plants or elements that would normally decay. So here we have different elements frozen in time, and she creates this almost marine or celestial forms with her play of textures.
Well, then there's this one. I mean, this looks like this could be little Pantones, little strips of colour samples that have been assembled so strikingly.
Absolutely, yes. I'm in love with this work by Carla Nixon. Each piece is hand-painted and hand-torn. It's also a very meticulous process, and how she puts it together is also in a very intricate way. And the beauty of this piece is that when you enter the gallery, you are faced with a very soft, delicate works, and then if you immerse yourself, you are struck by a very interesting surprise at the back with this contrast of color. Yeah, so it's a work that lives.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and it's so different to the front.
It's this very elegant waterfall of symmetry and this extraordinary puzzle that has been put together. We've already spoken about patience, but this must have taken not hours, this is days and weeks.
So that's a true dedication to her work and what she wants to depict. And what I also love about this work is how it engages the rest of the room with the dappled shadows at the back and also here on the front. So it's not just a work that lives in isolation, but it activates the whole space.
This, of course, is your piece, and this is proteas brought together in a way I would never have imagined. The artist's mind is often one that works a little differently to anybody else's. What was the process in terms of let me do what led to this particular piece?
So the materials used in this piece is all the proteas that was shown in the foyer of La Motte. So I kept them specifically for this piece. So the reason behind making work with decaying fibers is to just showcase that there's more potential and more beauty in what we might think. That these proteas were supposed to be discarded, but I want to show and to say that there are much more beauty surrounding us than we might think. And it's also protea fibers and alpaca fleece that's woven together. So it's animals and nature coming together, and I want to show that we are part of a larger world, and we don't just live in isolation. If we come together, we can create something exciting, new, and bursting full of potential.
I often speak to winemakers and ask them about the end product versus what their vision had been. This is what I hope to create, and what they end up with isn't always the same. Is that like the artistic process? Do you have a vision, but by the time you get to an end, it is maybe taken a slightly different turn and you end up with something that is a little different to what you'd perhaps imagined?
Absolutely, and with each artwork that I make, I feel like I don't want to create alone. So I use materials that I feel are co-creators or collaborators. So in the beginning, I have no idea what the artwork will look like. And the process is also, I put the fibers on a foam sheet, then I put the animal fibers, and while I'm working, it's a dry felting method. So in the process, I have no idea how everything will come together. That is up to the fibers to decide, and at the end I reveal the whole piece, and then so it's a surprise from beginning to end. This piece is installed here on purpose so that you can see this work from the beginning of the work, because as you come closer, the forms and the colors change, and when you come right up to it, you can it's almost like a vantage point somewhere between mountains, oceans, or and I just feel like every time I look at it, there's movement.
Yeah, the moments where it looks like these are waves gently overlapping, then it's mountain ranges as you're flying over, and they immerse with each other so seamlessly. Almost at the end, I don't want this tour to finish. I'm having so much fun. This is very different to anything we've seen so far.
Yes. So this is actually the only picture that we have in this exhibition. The rest is just materials and forms and color. So this is a work by Lene Ehler, and she also really upped the texture in this piece, and she used natural color palettes, and the way that she almost sculpts with paint is incredible. So also when you view the piece from the other side of the room up until you come close, it changes every time you step closer. And she paints from a dreamscape state, and so I would encourage viewers to just try and lose yourself within the crevices of this painting to try and enter your own dreamscape.
It does almost start to move when you look at it, and the flowers start to come to life, and there's almost a psychedelic quality to it.
Exactly.
And the kind of that raising up, that embracing of the texture of the paint very deliberately and championing what it can do. This is a glorious piece.
Yeah, it's very whimsical, and it allows you to escape the everyday life. And this is by artist Sarah Holland, and just the way that this pattern moves you, and it's such a simple color palette as well. This is a biography of Erik and Michelle Rust, and they are the co-founders of Okra Candle, and they are depicting the mountains and valleys of the Ceres Valley and Namibia's Moonlandschaft, and they create incredible bespoke candles that we are also very excited to have a bespoke acorn candle in our farm shop. So that is also one example of how we want to activate the La Motte gallery, not just for artists but also for makers, and to activate different areas on the farm to have a connection between the gallery and the farm shop.
So once I've seen this, I can nip into the shop, buy a few candles, and I'll come back in 3 weeks' time with a piece of art for your wall.
Exactly.
Beautiful. It's a staggering collection, and now that I have the story behind so much of it, it just takes on another level. And this is something that is going to be in a constant state of flux. You're going to be looking at different installations on a regular basis.
Yes, so we rotate the exhibitions every season, so we'll have 4 exciting exhibitions throughout the year.
Right. Well, there is one brand new installation coming up, and it's called Dan at Rest, and that's me in a chair with a glass of wine. From one art form to another, Edmund, into your home of the cellar. I think the last time we drank wine together, one of the more recent ones, it was your birthday, and this feels just as celebratory, because if I go back to 1998, I think you would have been standard 6, I came here, and this was the very first wine estate that I ever came to, so this has been quite a special day for me.
Yeah, so we've been making and bottling wine since 1985.
I still remember, and I was mentioning this to Hein a little earlier, that I took the bulk of my book allowance, and instead of getting textbooks at UCT, I purchased 2 things. It was a case of the 1996 Cabernet Sauvignon, and then this particular wine, which is not the most expensive wine in South Africa by any measure, but it's a wine that I will always have enormous fondness for, because I had a case of the 1995, and it was just a case of falling in love with some.
Yes, it's for us a special wine. It literally used to be the flagship of the cellar. The 1991 was an extremely good vintage, and it really put La Motte on the map.
We've got some wine to taste, and we've got a selection. It's always a tricky one when I visit, because there's so much that you can taste. We've narrowed it down to 5. Kicking off with some Sauvignon Blanc.
Sure. Again, on the Pinot, coming more or less from the same areas, or Cape South Coast, we work with 2 vineyards, one in Elgin and one in Elim. But most vintages is the Elim grapes that reach the final stages of the blend. So this is really a good example of good cool climate Sauvignon Blanc in South Africa from the Elim area. And then we also blend, as you realize by now, we like blending. We also blend in a little bit of Viognier from the same area. So always that green pepper effect with the gooseberries, some passion fruit, and a very, very good minerality. This area is known for that clean, almost like pebble stone, river stone pebble feeling afterwards.
It doesn't lose its distinctive Sauvignon Blanc identity, but there is that smoothing out and that added balance and just a little bit more weight on the palate that the Semillon gives it, and the combination is lovely.
Then we can go to Chardonnay. The Chardonnay, we're coming back to Franschhoek. We've made this since the 80s, and it's always been Franschhoek origin. We found that it's consistent enough for us, the grapes here, to make our Chardonnay from Franschhoek each year. And if somebody comes here and want to taste something from Franschhoek, this is what we can offer for them.
Yeah.
Right, then going on to Syrah, coming back to Franschhoek again, 100% Franschhoek.
Why does Franschhoek lend itself to this particular grape doing so well?
If you like drinkability again and red fruit, and you're happy with the creamy effect, very drinkable, then you bottle the Franschhoek grapes.
Ooh. When it comes to these different grapes that you're working with, are there some that you just find you have a more natural affinity for, you enjoy working with? Some of them are a little easier, and some of them really make you work and put you to the test?
Yes, it's interesting working with different varieties, but also the different areas, and it gives you time to work, because it ripens at different stages, the different areas.
With our last wine of the day, I've seen people, if not fight over this wine, then certainly have some very passive-aggressive arm wrestling over who gets the last of it, because this is a wine we see every year celebrated and shown at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championships in Scotland, where Johan Rupert brings together a collection of great South African wine to introduce to friends from all over the world. And this is always an enormously popular edition, and it's got a very distinctive name for those who aren't aware. Who is Hannelie are? Why does she get to have her name on the front of the bottle?
Yes, she's our owner, Hannelie Rupert, and we honor her with this wine. It is a selection out of the cellar, which over the years it's always been a Syrah based. So it's our way also of lifting the value of South African wine. But it's honestly always a selection of the best what we can find, that special stuff, the jewels in the cellar, with Syrah based, and it's been for many years Syrah's Grenache, and also a hint of that Durif I mentioned, which is the special block here in La Motte.
There is an appreciable delicacy to the wine, and one that I suspect, maybe not so much now, but definitely when you started, there must have been just a hint of nerves when you're thinking, right, I'm making a wine that not only am I taking to the market at a fairly substantial price, but I'm naming it after my owner. She'd better like it.
Well, it's the one wine that the sample we, if she's not around, we send it home, and she must approve it, sign it off. So yes, I hope she also enjoy the wine.
Well, it's a beautiful way to cap off the selection, but also a beautiful way to cap off my return. And I have so many fond memories of La Motte going back to that very first visit 27 years ago now, which makes me terribly old. But today I've been able to add even more, and these are very much amongst them. So, Edmund, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Thanks. Turn out.
And so ends a very happy return to La Motte. 27 years ago, armed with my university expense account and my first real cases of wine, and almost 3 decades later, plenty has changed, but so much remains the same. It's still so beautiful, it is still full of fantastic people, and it's still full of great wine. So I leave both with a very full heart and a very, very happy experience, and the promise to the team at La Motte that I'll be back again soon.